Sir, you will do the welcome?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Good evening, one and all. This is Karunanidhi, Vice President, and my colleagues are also there. It's a great opportunity for us, and this is the first time we are doing such webinar for especially for pet customers. So this particular seminar, when we thought about it, what kind of topic we need to usage of doxycycline as an injectable form in small animal practice, because in this Madras Veterinary College has done lot of practical case studies. They have done handled many such cases. So we requested Dr. Balasubramaniam, Director of Clinics, to depute somebody to conduct this webinar to share his practical experience. So Dr. Balasubramaniam sir has recommended Dr. Bala Gangadhar Tilak. He is a PhD and is an assistant professor in Department of Veterinary Clinical Medicine in Madras Veterinary College campus. So one interest that you may be surprised with the name Dr. Bala Gangadhar Tilakar. So in Tamil Nadu, particularly in Andhra, Tamil Nadu, some patriotic parents, when they name their children of some national leaders, they don't the surnames and all. Say they take the name as it is. So that is why in Bal Gangadhar Tilakar name, first, middle, and surname, everything has been taken and given to our webinar presenter, Dr. Bal Gangadhar Tilak. So you may be wondering about the name. So about this name and people in South India. So Dr. Bala Gangadhar Tilak did his PhD in veterinary medicine at the Veterinary Research Institute, Izzat Nagar in 2015 after completing his graduation. And his area of interest is veterinary medicine and veterinary internal medicine. He has undergone a training program on small animal emergency and critical care medicine in 2008 at College of Veterinary Medicine, Michigan State University, USA. His core interest for teaching and research in one Department of Science and Technology, the project which is run by Government of India as a principal investigator, and also for national level funded project as a co-principal investigator. A principal investigator and other 4 projects as a co-principal investigator. He has published more than 20 papers in national and international journals. He has guided 4 MUSC and 1 PhD research students in veterinary medicine and 14 postgraduate diploma students in the areas of small animal emergency and critical care, dermatology, and diagnostic ultrasound. Dr. Balasubramaniam, Bala Gangadhar Tilak is a recipient of 11 prestigious awards and honors. Some of the awards I would like to name here. TTK Pharma Award by Tanuvas in 1997. Dr. and Mrs. V.D. Ratnam Gold Medal in Tanuvas 1997. ICAR Junior Research Fellow 1997 to 99. And ICAR Senior Research Fellow in 2001 to 2004 period. And Sri Ramlal Agarwal National Gold Medal in 2005. So Best Poster Presentation Award in 2006 in Tanuvas. Small Animal Critical Care Presentation Award in 2011. Like that, he has got many awards and honor. Today, we are all privileged to have such a dynamic person with us to enrich our knowledge and guiding us today on this particular subject which we have taken, that doxycycline injection, how it is being used in the small. Speaker, Dr. Bala Gangadhar Tilak. Sir, over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Distinguished veterinarians practicing small animal practice all over the country, and even the participants from other nations, and executives from Alembic Pharma, the Vice President, Dr. Karnanidhi. All our young veterinarians, even students that also participated in this. I welcome for this webinar on update on doxycycline therapy in small animal practice. The outline of this webinar will go like this: antimicrobial in small animal practice. Then what is doxycycline, the chemistry of doxycycline, the clinical pharmacology in dogs and cats, oral doxycycline versus injectable doxycycline. What is the advantage of injectable doxycycline in small animal practice? And doxycycline in the treatment of important diseases in dogs and cats, like leptospirosis, upper respiratory tract disease of dogs and cats, urinary tract disease, genital tract disease, mainly the canine vector-borne diseases. The recent applications of doxycycline in heartworm disease control, microfilariasis treatment, dermatological conditions, ocular diseases. And doxycycline not only is antimicrobial, it is also having the immunomodulatory role, and it is a matrix metalloprotease inhibitor and is a very good wound healing substance. So being is antimicrobial, it has broad spectrum of activity, not only as antimicrobial, but also other uses. One by one, we will discuss. Most of the veterinarians are senior than me. You may have seen so many cases. You have applied doxycycline, maybe orally, but I share the experience what we have gained here in Madras Veterinary College. I have been working in critical care unit of Madras Veterinary College Teaching Hospital for more than 3.5, almost 4 years. I have been working, and so many end-stage diseases, especially the canine vector-borne diseases, we could save after we get the injectable doxycycline. Really, Alembic Pharma has really given such a wonderful drug in our small animal practice to save the lives of critically ill animal. One by one, we will see. The doxycycline, it is a member of tetracycline antimicrobial class. It is introduced in the practice first, both in veterinary and also human, 1967. A lot of pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamic research were done. And in clinical use, it is there for more than 50 years. And in human practice, the injectable form and also oral form, they have been using for the past 50 years. Recently, intravenous preparations are available in veterinary practice, and globally, it is more demanding. It is more demanding. I will explain why one by one. This chemistry of doxycycline, I'm not a biochemist or pharmacologist. I will just give a gist. It's a light yellow color powder, and its molecular weight is 462.45. This is a chemical formula. If you take doxycycline, when compared to other tetracycline class of drugs, take tetracycline, oxytetracycline, chlorotetracycline, the doxycycline, it has high degree of lipid solubility. The high degree of lipid solubility means it will be available in good concentration in various body tissue fluids. So it can exert its action in all the organs. And second advantage is it has low affinity for calcium binding. And one more advantage in case of veterinary practice, especially for handling geriatric patients, though are already prone for kidney disease, there is no other alternative. So doxycycline is the best choice because it does not accumulate in the kidney like tetracycline or oxytetracycline. And it is eliminated mostly by bile and by diffusion into the intestinal lumen. The renal elimination is in dogs is less than 25%. In human, it is more than 40%. So it is very safe to use geriatric patients and also the potentially cases having multi-organ dysfunction because the renal elimination is low and deposition of the kidney is very low. So it's safer in kidney disease. And plasma half-life depend varying study actually described 7.3 to 12 hours. So the drug can be taken either at 5 milligram once 12 hourly. If the date is given at the rate of 10 milligram per kg body weight, it is given once in a day. But injectable doxycycline is very readily, rapidly distributed into the circulation and somehow slowly eliminated. So the research findings, not now, even in the 1990s itself, they have given it a superior over oral route because of quick and rapid distribution and slow in elimination. These are the pharmacokinetic parameters. If you take the half-life in dogs means of median, T half is 4.56 hours in 5.18 in case of cats. And the volume of distribution liter per kg 0.38, 1.01 in case of dogs and cats. Protein binding is very good, 98.55. Albumin binding is varying because different species composition of the albumin. 76% in case of dogs, 53% in case of cats. Very important to note what are the advantages of injectable oral than oral route, because injectable route is bioavailability is 100%, immediately is reaching the circulation. Oral route depend upon because the calcium also bind with some other metals. I will drug interaction, I will show that slide. It also bind with other food material. The absorption takes time, and the time to take Cmax, maximum concentration in the blood, it takes 2.8 hours at the concentration of 4.6 microgram per ml. This is the concentration reaches the blood when it's given oral route in case of dogs at the rate of 10 milligram per kg. Whereas if it is given intravenous route at the rate of 5 milligram per kg, in case of dogs, it reaches Cmax 11.56 microgram per ml. It's very good, and the MIC is more than the MIC requirement for most of the organism, including the bacteria, rickettsial organism, mycoplasma, and also for the control of heartworm disease. And Tmax is just 0.17 hour. After oral dose, it reaches 2.8 hours, but immediately it will reach the circulation and reaches the Tmax by injectable route. Moreover, our sick animals, mostly in all the diseases, when they are sick, if you are giving oral medicine, they tend to vomit. Moreover, many disease conditions, the animals are already dehydrated and vomiting will be there, and immediately just if you are giving. So the drug concentration, what we are giving by orally, it reaches the circulation, whether it reaches the Cmax, it is uncertain. So getting a good therapeutic efficacy of doxycycline assured route is intravenous in critically ill animal or those animals, dogs and cats, which are not tolerant for oral route. In case of cats, if it is administered, it may be sticky and staying in the esophagus. It takes long time in the feline. It reaches the stomach. So slow transit, it causes severe esophagitis in case of some cats. And publications are there. Doxycycline oral administration caused severe esophageal ulceration and stricture. So immediately after administration, you have to give some water. So these are very uncertain things. Whether the drug concentration reaches the blood level for reaching MIC is very uncertain in case of dogs and cats when given oral route, when it is non-tolerant by oral route, or when the dog is sick and is vomiting. The mode of action, if you take the doxycycline, you all know it inhibit the bacterial protein synthesis by binding 30S ribosomal subunit, and it has a very broad spectrum of activity and is a bacteriostatic agent, and all gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria, even anaerobic bacteria, are also susceptible for the doxycycline. This spectrum of activity, different species of bacteria, including our Bordetella, Brucella, Campylobacter, E. coli, Haemophilus, Klebsiella, Shigella, Vibrio, Yersinia pestis. We take gram-positive bacteria, Bacillus anthracis, Listeria, anaerobic bacteria, Clostridium. Especially, the Clostridium difficile. Clostridium difficile, it causes severe enteritis and mucus and production of toxin in the system. It also very well controlled by doxycycline. Other bacteria like Nocardia, Actinomyces, Borrelia, especially for the Lyme disease, and Chlamydia psittaci and Chlamydia trachomatis. It causes the genital or ocular chlamydiosis. It can be treated very well by doxycycline. Mycoplasma. Mycoplasma means hemoplasma, the circulatory system and also respiratory system. So different types of mycoplasma, species of mycoplasma organisms are there. Mycoplasma haemophilus, Mycoplasma haemokinis. These are causing severe hemolytic anemia and also immune-mediated hemolytic anemia. So it can be well managed with the use of doxycycline. Rickettsia, the not tell because you all experienced with the Ehrlichia canis and Rocky Mountain spotted fever, typhus fever in case of human children. So for Rickettsia organism, doxycycline is one of the best choice. And take Protozoa babesia, especially the small babesia gypsone. It causes multi-organ dysfunction syndrome, and whatever the conventional drug we have been using you cannot manage with this small babesia because it is causing ERDS, that is acute respiratory distress syndrome. It also causes renal failure. It also causes severe hemolytic anemia, severe thrombocytopenia. So all complete cases, it's very difficult to use oral doxycycline. So we have to go for injectable doxycycline. Other protozoa sensitive for doxycycline are Balantinum, even Entamoeba species also sensitive for doxycycline. If you take drug interaction, as I told you, when it is given orally, and immediately the client is giving his pet with oral antacid, bismuth, kaolin, pectin, iron supplement, because most of the blood protozoan we are giving the iron supplement. So when doxycycline is giving along with the iron supplement, definitely the absorption will be low. It cannot reach the sufficient concentration MIC in the blood. And other bactericidal antibiotics such as penicillin, cephalosporin, aminoglycoside, and anticoagulant medicine such as warfarin, phenobarbital. All these drugs, they have interaction with the doxycycline. So it's very important, if at all you go for oral doxycycline therapy, so at least there will be 2 to 3 hours gap should be required between oral administration and administration of all this drug. If the client is not well informed, or if the pet, because one time the doxycycline, other time you're going for other medicine, after 2 hours, 3 hours means the client, they may not be having sufficient time. In practical difficulty, they may miss the dose or the pet may not be compliant. So it's very difficult to maintain the sufficient plasma concentration in case of oral route. And if at all we are giving oral route, these are precautions, what I told, 2 to 3 hours gap we should give. And side effects, dogs sometimes causes, when the dose is overdose we are giving, sometimes it causes vomiting in case of dogs. In cats, it causes esophageal ulceration in sensitive cats. And moreover, when the dog is sick, already sick, it may be having vomiting. So it's oral route, it may not be advisable for administering doxycycline. Application of doxycycline in small animal practice, these are the major areas where we are giving, like respiratory infection, like infectious kennel cough, infectious tracheitis, tracheobronchitis, urinary tract infection, because many continuous use of penicillin, cephalosporin for the urinary tract infection, and other antibiotics also. Nowadays, the resistance is developed. Even research, recent research finding, I'll show the slides. Recent research finding indicated that doxycycline is good, and most of the organisms are sensitive for doxycycline in urinary tract infection. Infected wounds even, and bloodborne infections, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, Lyme disease. Lyme disease is not very common or reported in India. Ehrlichiosis is very, very common because so many surveys and treatment, especially during summer months, the activity of the ticks is very, very high. The animals are more chance of getting their ehrlichiosis, especially the German Shepherd and case babesiosis, the multisteria. So this is highly susceptible breeds. Leptospirosis is omnipresent everywhere. If the rainy season in case of Chennai, so immediately both human cases and also dog cases of leptospirosis will be there, and it shows variety of symptom. We all think that it is canine parvovirus enteritis, but most of the cases we have seen that is hemorrhagic entity showing. Once after checking the sample, it is positive for microscopic agglutination test, is find positive for leptospirosis. So we have to be very, very careful with leptospirosis. So leptospirosis, ehrlichiosis, babesiosis, these are the main area of application of doxycycline, our regular practice. Mostly we use for this kind of diseases. And in our case study, what we have encountered in our practice in Madras Veterinary College, critical care medicine unit. So that I will share with you. You know that leptospirosis causes lethargy, vomiting, diarrhea, dehydration, jaundice, musculoskeletal pain, and because it is colonized in kidneys, it causes oliguria. And in case of severe sepsis, it causes hypothermia, dyspnea, tachypnea, because leptospira, these respiratory signs are because of the leptospira organism recently found to cause pulmonary hemorrhage. Leptospira induced pulmonary hemorrhage is a very common complication. Whereas in human, acute Weil's disease, it causes hematemesis and hematochezia or melena in case of human, that is called acute Weil's disease. In dogs also, it produces in some cases severe hemorrhagic enteritis. In dogs, in chronic cases, it shows weakness and also weight loss. So renal failure, liver failure is very, very common in case of once is not in correct time, it is not diagnosed in timely diagnosis and timely treatment, it end up in complications, and we have to lose our valuable pets. Here, major complication, as I told you, in leptospirosis, leptospira-induced pulmonary hemorrhage, as a hepatorenal syndrome and renal failure causing uremia. This is an interesting case study. What we have encountered, just I want to share with you. This is what we have. So many cases we are seeing. This is something is different. And in 2017, one man, he came from California. He's a computer professional. He came from California to Madurai, Tamil Nadu, down south Tamil Nadu. And it was rainy season. After coming to Madurai, 10 or 15 days it was there. Then it started vomiting. Continuous vomiting, at least for 5, 7, 9. 9th day, he went to a veterinary doctor. There itself, they continued treatment for 1 week at least. And it is not responding for treatment. Continuous fever is there, vomiting is there. So it brought to Madras Veterinary College Hospital with salivation, halitosis, oral ulceration, polyuria, weight loss, and weakness. This is a Siberian, sorry, there is a Belgian Shepherd, Belgian Shepherd is his name is Siva. Still, I remember this dog. And after 3 or 4 days, we have been continuously treating it. It's not responding for. Immediately, we collected samples. The first days of we have collected samples suspecting for leptospirosis, and second day we got the result positive for leptospira by MAT. And third day, we found the tongue necrosis. This is nothing but tongue. You can see the previous photo. The free lap of the free tongue is lost. Severe tongue ulceration, that necrosis, and dog just shook its head and this is sloughed off. The necrosed tongue sloughed off and came out. And after that, it was challenging to raise the dog. And these are the physical examination findings. This vomiting, stinky salivation is characteristic because of the uremic stomatitis and gangrenous glossitis, because of the gangrene is sloughed off, tongue sloughed off. Urinalysis, the evidence of proteinuria, creatinine is increased and specific rate also increased. This is the hemoglobin values. The creatinine value, you can see it was peaked, then after treatment slowly is decreasing, its variable level was there. Blood nitrogen also, you can see the same trend was there. And blood gas analysis we did, the hypernatremia, blood pressure also very high. Microscopic agglutination test we did MAT, it is positive for autumnalis, 0 group. Ultrasound is the hypocortex with the enlarged kidney size, indicating acute kidney injury. And tentative diagnosis, we diagnosed the case of acute renal injury. There was leptospirosis because of a characteristic sign, and also MAT also. We confirmed the diagnosis. These are other differences diagnosis, including glomerulonephritis, urinary tract infection, renal calculi, electrolyte imbalance, because all these are ruled out. Treatment, what do we give? This is ondansetron to stop vomiting, amoxicillin at the rate of 20 milligram per kg intravenously, twice daily, pantoprazole, and gets lactate. Because it lost its tongue, so there is no way. Once after 3 days, it started feeling something or drinking water, and also for feeding. It was very difficult to manage. We started nasoesophageal intubation tube, actually by tube feeding, nasoesophageal tube after 5 days of admission, and the doxycycline tablet we started giving at the 10 milligram per kg body weight for 14 days. It was treated in the hospital itself. It was the dog was intensively under intensive care monitoring for 7 days. And the major issue here, that time we could not get doxycycline, injectable doxycycline, because of these complicated cases, vomiting cases. We could not get doxycycline in the market. And this nasoesophageal, this one tube feeding also, just we did already. We may be knowing, and when you need some more, we have been in your practice, you may be doing now, or you can some other training also you can participate here. The nasoesophageal tube feeding we were practicing, and it recovered wonderfully. It recovered, and this after treatment he went back to California. What he used to feed now, he put his bottle water in the bottle, and he's making him to drink. And for he make the rice mid like a small ball in conical cup, so the dog will bite and toss and swallow. This is the lifestyle it is leading. This is because of loss of time. And this is interesting. The European consensus report says the panel recommends dogs with leptospirosis should be treated treated with 5 milligram per kg body weight once in 12 hours, or 10 milligram per kg body weight once in a day, if the dog does not have any GI signs. No vomiting means you can go for. Or if the dog has gastrointestinal sign, the panel is advising to go for penicillin derivatives like amoxicillin at the rate of 20 to 30 milligram per kg body weight 3 times a day. And the panel is recommending is important. Once it is coming out of the GI sign, it should receive at least 14-day course of oral doxycycline. So here, once injectable doxycycline is available, very well it will save the animals. And some of the reports in Kerala recent study also, just I want to focus, because there are more than 250 serowards of leptospirosis. Every time just there may be new serowards. So this is Batavia is reported from Kerala. This is a microscopic accreditation test. So leptospirosis doxycycline is very, very important, because once the organism is colonized in the kidney, it should be removed. At least for 14 days continuously, we have to give doxycycline, then only. Otherwise, dog will be persistently to be like carrier. It will disseminate the infection, spread the infection to all other dogs, and also potentially, because it's a very highly zoonotic disease to human being. So it's very, very important to treat the dog to completely get rid of leptospira from the renal colonization. So doxycycline is very important. Up to 14 days, minimum 14 days you have to give to clear the renal colonization. Next important area of application of doxycycline is canine vector-borne disease. Here in our practice regularly, especially in Chennai during summer months, these are the manifestations. The sick dogs will be there. There'll be tick infestation, pyrexia, anemia, epistaxis, petechial hemorrhage, jaundice, melena, vomiting, or multi-organ dysfunction syndrome will be there. So very continuously, those who are practicing small practice continuously, so immediately they can just conclude in 3 or 4 diseases like ehrlichiosis or babesiosis, okay, or heat stroke or some other sepsis condition. The characteristic blood work, it shows decreased continue. If you take today and after 3 days or 4 days once again, so you can consistent decrease in case of hemoglobin, packed cell volume, RBC, and platelet also will be lower. Elevated monocyte count in case of ehrlichiosis, and elevated or decreased WBC count depend upon the stage of ehrlichiosis, or sometime when it is complicated with immune-mediated hemolytic anemia, there will be WBC will be increased. And immune-mediated hemolytic anemia, when is there, there will be spherocytosis, hypochromasia will be there, and will be positive for saline agglutination. These complications will be there always with this kind of canine vector-borne disease. It's very challenging to treat successfully all the cases. Only 60 to 70% of the cases you can manage, but 30% of the cases very, very difficult, challenging to successfully manage 30% of the cases. This biochemistry, take elevated blood nitrogen will be there, creatinine also elevated total, and direct bilirubin, anemia, epistaxis. These are the characteristics in case of almost the babesiosis and also in case of ehrlichiosis. If take these are the survey done in India about what are the different types of canine vector-borne diseases in India. Actually, this study was conducted in Mumbai. Sorry, spelling mistake is there. It's Mumbai, Delhi, Ladakh, and Sikkim. Okay, most of the other cities like Hyderabad, Chennai, okay, Pune, and other major cities are not covered. Only the 4 places they have taken the sample and they have did the PCR. Actually, this is not done. The study is done in other countries, not India. They collected sample. They did the work in other country, and you can see the organism they found by PCR, polymerase chain reaction. Hepatozoan canis is the most common, almost 30% of the cases. Ehrlichia canis 20.6%. Mycoplasma hemocanis. In case of all tick infested dogs, they collected sample, they found this. And Anaplasma platis 6.5. Babesia vogeli 5.5%. Babesia gibsoni 0.2%. So here actually the work has been done in only the sample was collected in only in 4 places. So this is not good representation, but whatever the data we are getting, just I want to project to you. And concurrent infections, most importantly, we have to note that all the time we cannot get only Ehrlichia canis will be there, or Babesia will be there, or hepatozoan. In many cases, there will be combination of disease, either Ehrlichia canis plus Babesia, or hepatozoan canis plus Babesia, or Ehrlichia and hepatozoan canis. So combination of, because all these organisms are transmitted by ticks only. So this multiple, mostly 2 or 3 organisms may be there in the particular dog. So here the survey says almost 39%, 40% of the cases they have multiple or concurrent infection, more than one tick-borne disease. Means just you think about the significance of tick-borne disease. And potential tick vectors, they found the Rhiphocephalus sanguinis, most common, this brown dog tick. And next is the Haemaphysalis. Haemaphysalis, because in Ladakh area, Sikkim area, the Haemaphysalis is more. That's why the Haemaphysalis. But down south, in South India, the mostly the Rhiphocephalus we found. So the transmission of these canine vector-borne diseases to dogs, especially when the vector is active during summer. But not only summer, the problem will be there perennial. Throughout the year, will be getting the babesiosis, ehrlichiosis. But the case rise peak will be there during around summer months. These are the symptoms. You can see that contains epistaxis. German Shepherd, really you can understand that is very frequently or most susceptible breed for ehrlichiosis. And typically you can see the high fever, just ranging from 39.5, otherwise 100, 102 to 104 degree Fahrenheit, 40.2 degrees Celsius. Okay, and this is a Labrador showing the severe epistaxis. You can see the Dalmatian, you can see the how much tick infestation is there. And you can see the same Labrador, pale mucous membrane. So the clinical signs, you take pale mucous membrane, pyrexia, enlargement of lymph node, epistaxis, petechia ecchymosis will be there, and prolonged bleeding during estrus. It's very peculiarly the client will tell, sir, is in heat, but bleeding is not stopping, continuous bleeding will be there. But dog may be active or mild rise in temperature will be there if you take the blood smear examination, and or other if you send it for PCR test, it will be positive for ehrlichiosis. There will be hematuria, melena, melena associated with thrombocytopenia, and also platelet count may be some definitely reduced. In some cases, maybe normal or just will be decreased at not critical level, but it effect won't be there because of thrombocytopathy, and also vasculitis will be there. Ocular signs, mostly we can see the ocular signs in case of complicated ehrlichiosis: anterior uveitis, corneal opacity, hyphema, retinal vessel tortuosity, is chorioretinal lesions, subretinal hemorrhages, retinal detachment or blindness, and renal failure. You can see these are the characteristic ocular manifestations of ehrlichiosis. In some practices in Chennai and Delhi, you can find the snap test. So you can check for there's a ehrlichiosis, Lyme disease, heartworm. So for 4 diseases, you can see the snap test kit will be there. And if you take based upon the clinical signs, you can diagnose in regular practice, and you can start doxycycline, or you just to add 2 or 3 days, you can collect blood sample and send it for laboratory for the investigation. And Echinus morula will be blood smear, regular blood smear, ordinary blood smear, only 5 to 6% of the cases only you can get positive for morula Echinus. To increase the possibility of getting morula, what we have to do, we have to take Buffy coat, take the blood in EDTA and centrifuge in microcapillary tube and take the Buffy coat smear. It's most likely you can increase the sensitivity of getting Echinus in the peripheral blood. Lymph node cytology says, cytology of lymph node aspiration smear, 50% of the cases you can check the presence of morula will be there. And recent study also, splenic aspirate. Splenic aspirate, regular practice, it is not possible because you have to go for the bleeding time. If low platelet count is there, prothrombin time is increased. If you are going for splenic aspirate, means continuously the bleeding will be there. That will end up in complication. And this our snap test is based upon the serology and PCR polymerase chain reaction. So because of the university hospital and some facility will be there in case of cities, major cities, you can also send the sample for polymerase chain reaction. You can get even low parasitemia, low level infection also very easily you can diagnose. But mostly these organisms are disintegrated or pooled in case of spleen. Splenomegaly will be characteristic in this case. So based upon the clinical signs, you can at least derive and you can rule out other infection also. Laboratory finding, as we have discussed, there will be mild to moderate normocytic normochromic anemia, and neutropenia will be there, neutrophilia, lymphopenia, monocyte. Because you know ehrlichiosis will be 3 stages will be there. Initially there will be pyrexia, then after that, so the no fever, the animal but lose continuously weight. After that, third phase will be pancytopenia. So mostly first stage we have to diagnose, we have to treat. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult to treat the case. And the monocytosis will be characteristic in case of early stage. Thrombocytopenia, thrombocytopathy will be there. You can, many of the cases, you can see that there will be hyperglobulinemia. Hyperglobulinemia, even when the ehrlichiosis also, because some research work we are doing regularly, and the complications because of babesiosis and ehrlichiosis, there will be renal. So there will be definitely the renal failure, elevated creatinine level will be there. So proteinuria and renal acidemia also one complications. Immediately we have to diagnose and we have to treat. And because some practice we still are giving high temperature, means give oxytetracycline, and oxytetracycline gives 1 shot of prednisolone or normosaline. Because if the case is entering in acidemia, so tetracycline definitely it will cause further damage. So that's we have to be very careful. So when you are getting injectable doxycycline, it's better to use injectable doxycycline because it's safe renal in the early stage also, so it won't hurt the renal tissue. So doxycycline is better choice when the dog is vomiting or is unable to give oral route. And mostly the sick dogs, you know, is very difficult because it won't eat food. If you give doxycycline also, sometimes it causes esophagitis and pharyngitis, retching will be there. Second day, third day dose, you cannot give. That's why this is recommended, and we have been maintaining and using here the doxycycline, mainly the before it really is a very good gift in our, especially the animals which are critically ill. Here we are treating with dopamycin as alembic product. Is really is for the past 1 year only we are getting. Before that, it would be really challenging for us. We have to run here and pillar to post to get the clients will be running pillar to post to get the human this doxycycline, even that local market they're giving, that is not giving expected therapeutic efficacy. So for the past almost 1 year we are getting the dopamycin really is wonderfully is working in critically ill animals, and we could save the lives of so many dogs. And mild here also you can see the mild increase in hepatic enzymes also will be there. And the pancytopenia is very characteristic in case of chronic form. As per the European guidelines and this American College of Internal Medicine consensus, just I'm also giving what we are doing. So whatever they are following, we cannot directly adopt, but we can adapt to our practice. The doxycycline in European guidelines saying 5 milligram per kg twice daily if the dog is orally can give, or 10 milligram per kg once daily for 28 days. That is 4 weeks you have to give. This regimen guarantee complete response in the majority of the cases. And ACBAM consensus 2002 says that doxycycline 10 milligram per kg per hour once daily for 28 days. So you see the platelet count increases to normal by day 14 after doxycycline therapy. Not 2 doses of imidacloprid also could clear the. So here in ehrlichiosis, some actually initially there were some whether to use imidacloprid or diclofenac and other things. Doxycycline is the best choice as per the recommendation of the panel of European guideline and also ACBM consensus. If the dog is vomiting, the best choice is we have to go for injectable doxycycline. Dopamycin is available as a 100 milligram vial. You have to dilute it with the 10 ml distilled water here given. Then you have to dilute with at least 100 ml, minimum 100 ml of normal saline or 5% dextrose. You can mix it so that you will be getting 1%. So it's better to give 0.1% to 1% solution of doxycycline in the intravenous route slowly. So vomiting is there. There's no not getting means vomiting is there. There is no other way means you have to give split the dose twice daily regimen. Instead of giving 10 mg per kg orally, you have to give 5 mg. But it's very challenging. You cannot give oral dosing, especially when the dog is sick and is continuously vomiting, because I told you the effective minimal inhibitory MIC level won't increase in the plasma, and expected therapeutic efficacy we cannot get. Otherwise, you can dose after feeding. So next, coming to the babesiosis. We all know the canine babesiosis is very frequently we are encountered babesiosis in our canine practice. Cats also do get the babesia infection. Cats also do get babesia infection. Even babesia canis also we have ruled out. We have demonstrated in case of blood smear of the cats. Here there are 2 types of babesia are that are causing disease. One is the large babesia, other is small babesia. Large babesia, babesia canis, babesia rosei, babesia ojali. Small babesia, babesia gibsoni, babesia conradi, and babesia annae now is called Theileria annae or babesia vulpes. So these are the different types of small and large babesia. This picture actually, as you can see, the teardrops, or there is pyroplasm. Okay, the large babesia, babesia canis, and small babesia, babesia gibsoni will be like this, small babesia. So diagnosis can be done based upon the clinical manifestation. The canine babesiosis, you can make the diagnosis either by blood smear examination or by PCR. Okay, one that it is diagnosed babesiosis, definitely you have to then you have to divide whether it's a how to manage this babesiosis, whether it is a complicated or non-complicated babesiosis. Complicated babesiosis will be around 30% to 40%. Non-complicated will be around 60% of the babesiosis case. Initially, there will be pyrexia will be there, you know, and there will be sometimes the hemoglobin will be there, pale mucous membrane, and vasculitis, petechial hemorrhage, splenomegaly. Because of anemia, severe anemia, there will be water hammer pulse. By pulse, we can see there will be water hammer pulse. And in case of complicated babesiosis, it will enter in systemic inflammatory response syndrome. because I have guided for my master degree students. They are working mostly on the sepsis SARS. So the systemic inflammatory response, because once the Babesia enters in the system, it causes kallikrein mediated route, and there will be release of so much cytokine. Because is a cytokine storm. Because of constant hit of the cytokines, inflammatory cytokines on the tissue, it causes organ failure one by one. Initially, it will be causing hepatic disease or renal disease. So there will be renal failure, elevated creatinine level, elevated blood nitrogen will be there, elevated this is bilirubin will be there, total bilirubin or diet bilirubin will be there. So slowly then you have septic shock, decrease in blood pressure. So many things will be there. So it's very difficult to manage this kind of cases. Almost 30 to 35% of the cases of babesiosis will turn into complicated babesiosis. So really it will be challenging task to manage these dogs. In Chennai, in most of the cities, the clients are how much attached to their pet. So we are committed to our profession to whatever extent possible with available medicine, we have to treat the case successfully. That's why here the dopamine is really useful to manage this case of complicated babesiosis. Here, this is a case study what we have done in our Madras Veterinary College critical care unit. The data just with interest I'm sharing with you. And almost 17 cases of babesia positive cases we have seen that confirmed by either by blood smear, but mostly by polymerase chain reaction, because University Hospital we have the facility support from the diagnostic wing, centralized clinical laboratory, and also from here our TRBB Madhavaram. So we are getting and also Department of Parasitology also help us to diagnose the case at quick. We are sending samples within 1 or 2 hours. Our laboratory support will give the result of the hematology and biochemistry. Rule out the disease condition, and immediately we can start. Because and also our facility we have very good setup. Actually, the patient side diagnostic, point of care diagnostic facility, blood gas analysis will be there immediately. Life threatening condition, immediately we will rule out and we'll start immediately. We'll start our treatment. So this complete babesiosis will be affected by systemic inflammatory response syndrome, acute respiratory distress syndrome, multi-organ dysfunction, and shock. It causes a severe reduction in the blood pressure. Here, to compare other blood parameters, 10 apparently healthy dogs also we have taken in our study. And blood samples collected from the dogs positive for babesiosis is subject for routine hematology, serum biochemistry, clotting profile, and blood gas analysis, and also flow cytometry, because the babesiosis complicated cases causes Evans syndrome. Evans syndrome means immune-mediated thrombocytopenia, immune-mediated hemolytic anemia, IMHA, IMTP. These very, very important complications, and at least 7 to 10% of the cases, complete cases, we are getting this kind of problem. Evans syndrome is very, very difficult. We have to give immunomodulator therapy, especially with the prednisolone, at least for 3 to almost 3 months. It need complete azathioprine and prednisolone schedule. So values are compared with analyzed with a statistical test. These case studies I'm sharing so that definitely by seeing the proof we can understand. And as I told you, the clinical manifestation of the complicated babesiosis, the bale mucosum will be there, tachycardia, tachypnea, and the petechia and ecchymosis because of vasculitis, and melena and vomiting will be there. Seizures, in some cases cerebral babesiosis seizures also we have encountered, because the dog may be sick for a couple of days, is not eating anything, there will be hypoglycemia, and because of vomiting and diarrhea, melena, there will be hypotension. So these are the hypotension not because of only dehydration, but also because of the vasodilatation, peripheral vasodilatation, and causes hypotension. These are typical sign. You can see subscale hemorrhage, icterus. You can notice the ecchymotic patches. It's very typical characteristic sign. And last year it was challenging for us continuously. Even so many government dogs and also the pet dogs came with this kind of clinical signs. It was challenging for managing this case of. So most of the cases we diagnosed with babesiosis, babesia with Ehrlichia, and management of these kind of cases really need acute response. Immediately we have to give drugs which will be useful to clear the infection. So in that situation, the dopamine really will be useful for your practice, and regularly we are using this kind of complicated cases in our practice. You can see that the parameters, the hemoglobin, TCV, and RBC are decreased than the normal value, WBC count, and neutrophils you can see, and monocyte is elevated, platelet count is decreased. And you can other parameters you can see the cases with elevated blood nitrogen, creatinine also elevated 2.98. Here you have to see the creatinine depend upon the concentration stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4 based upon the creatinine IRIS classification. You can classify, and we have to give the prognosis. Here giving prognosis is very, very important. Whether the dog will survive after taking this much effort, we have to give the prognosis. The fair or in advance we have to give. Or complete cases means we have to give in advance prognosis. And albumin, you can see the elevated level of ALT, serum alkaline phosphatase, and total bilirubin, direct bilirubin also elevated. This is characteristic clinical manifestations. When you are coming, the dogs are coming in your practice, you are collecting samples, you are sending to laboratory, you're getting characteristic, this kind of finding in hematology, CBC, and also the serum biochemistry. These are the blood gas analysis and lactate. Blood lactate, it was 4.57 complicated cases in average. So normally it should be less than 2.5 millimole per liter. Is more than 2.5 millimole per liter means definitely that we can give the unfavorable prognosis. And this is a blood gas analysis because we have the facility, we are giving the report, but at least you have to see what are the blood gas analysis variations will be there. So most of the cases we have encountered metabolic acidosis because blood pH dropped down to 7.25, blood lactate is more than 2.5 millimole, and organ dysfunction score. We have calculating depending upon the one is the age and the presence of elevated creatinine level, elevated serum liver enzyme level, and presence of bleeding, okay, and presence of thrombocytopenia. So like that, we'll be taking, and age of the dogs also. Age of the dog is geriatric dog means prognosis, we have to give unfavorable prognosis. So we take the organ score or clinical condition score. So depending upon if the organ score is having respiratory disease and also the cardiac ECG abnormality like that, is more than 3 out of 8, it is unfavorable prognosis. And blood pressure, as I told you, because of the vasodilatation and the Calligreen mediated mechanism, cytokine also plays a role. If blood pressure goes down less than 60 mmHg, then we have is really complicated. So in our study, complicated babesiosis, we recorded 40 to 85 millimole, mmHg Doppler blood pressure, but healthy it is between 95 to 130 mmHg. This is a polymerase chain reaction PCR test where there's actually is 340 base pair for Babesia genus, and this flow cytometry for diagnosis of immune-mediated thrombocytopenia, immune-mediated hemolytic anemia. So in our blood smear study is really useful, and once we are getting polychromasia, spherocytosis, anemia, then immediately without any delay we'll send the sample for the flow cytometry. We'll confirm for the presence of this one. A facility is not available, at least by seeing the blood smear you can say that okay, spherocytosis is there, you can go for, or simply you can also use saline agglutination test for this kind of complications. Saline agglutination, few drops of saline, not 2 drops of blood, just mix it, wait for few at least 1 minute. You can see this clumping of RBCs will be there in case of immune-mediated hemolytic anemia. And immediate thrombocytopenia very well just by is evident by seeing the platelet count is evident severe thrombocytopenia. Even whatever the medications you are giving, so by either giving alternative medicine like papaya leaf extract, whatever giving is not going to increase very quickly. So the major target we have to clear the parasitemia. We have to clear the parasitemia, especially in babesiosis. So here take these cases how we managed is by means of bundle therapy. I think I shared this because it will be useful for your clinical management of complicated babesiosis. Hypotension, if the blood pressure drops down, we go for IV crystallite along with tetrastarch. And dopamine, if it is not responding for IV crystallite, we administer dopamine at the rate of 10 microgram per kg per minute as a CRA. And very importantly, whatever the case you are seeing babies, you must have a glucometer, glucose strip, and check the blood glucose level. It really is important in our practice to check the blood glucose level whenever it's a pediatric case or geriatric case or the patient is sick more than 3 days. It's not eating, vomiting will be there like that. So check the blood glucose level, and especially seizing case. Seizures will be there means you have to go and check blood glucose level because glycemic control is very, very important. Most of the cases we have seen hypoglycemia, even the blood glucose level drops down below detectable limit. Okay, like a 25 is like a 30, like that will be there. So in this case, we have to go for dextrose 25%, 1 ml per kg intravenous. 1 to 2 ml per kg we can give 25% dextrose. Thromboembolism, you can see the petechial hemorrhage or ecchymotic patches. You can use low molecular weight heparin at the rate of 80 international units per kg. Subcutaneously, we can give once in 3 days, 3 times a day. You can give by thromboembolism. Especially the pulmonary thromboembolism is very, very is complicating for this babesiosis. And other metabolic complications, as I told you, blood pH drops. So metabolic acidosis, very typically you can diagnose by respiratory pattern. The dog will be having deep breathing. So we call this a hyperventilating. Hyperventilating means definitely it's a metabolic acidosis. It may sometimes complicate with hyperkalemia. Hyperkalemia. Simply, if you have this facility to check the ECG, connect ECG, you can find spike T wave. So very characteristically, it's evident like having hyperkalemia. So in those cases, we can manage with sodium bicarbonate, insulin. Because of the presence of hyperkalemia, we have to give insulin along with 25% dextrose at the rate of 1 to 2 ml per kg body weight. And if seizures are there, we manage seizures in case of complicated babesiosis, the neurological form of babesiosis, using diazepam as a CRI. Anemia was managed by whole blood transfusion because our Madras Veterinary College, we have very good blood bank support. So these cases, complicated cases, we are getting whole blood, and also blood products also we are getting, like platelet-rich plasma we are getting. And whenever there is thrombocytopenia, platelet-rich plasma we are using. And in case of IMTP, immune-mediated thrombocytopenia, immune-mediated hemolytic anemia, we have to go for either whole blood transfusion, fresh whole blood transfusion. Okay, if only IMTP is there, you can go for platelet-rich plasma, and you have to go for prednisolone therapy. This is a complicated babesiosis, adjunct therapy, other symptomatic therapy, what seeing the challenges. And we come into the babycidal drugs. Actually, the main drug for treating the babesiosis. You know, the large babies here, they're sensitive for diminishing acetate, Imidacloprid, or dipropionate. What are you using? But other antibiotics also nowadays research found that azithromycin, clindamycin, doxycycline, metronidazole, even enrofloxacin, they are found to have a good effect clearing babesia. Antiprotozoal drug like antimalarial drug, atoquan also found to be, but no single drug has successfully eliminated Babesia gypsoni infection from infected dog. This is a truth. But many cases you are not completely following. The client is not completely following the complete protocol of the treatment. Definitely, the dogs won't be completely clearing the parasitemia. Definitely, the Babesia gypsoni will be there in the blood and continuously be act as a source, because we have lot of tick vectors. So very quickly, they act as source of infection to other dogs. And babesia is also important for human health point of view. Whenever any splenectomized individual is there, because American reports, Italian reports also there in human being. Whenever the individual is at home, at client home, splenectomized individual, give a caution to them. They have to away from the ticks, because bite of the infected ticks transmit the babesia. It is a zoonotic in case of splenectomized individual. And treatment, as per the latest recommendations, 2016 recommendation, the Babesia canis, Imidacloprid dipropionate is good at the rate of 6.6 mg per kg body weight, either given intramuscular 15 days apart. Babesia ovale, doxycycline alone cannot clear the infection. Babesia microti or small babesia is imidocarb dipropionate is poor, it won't clear the infection. Azithromycin plus atopicone, good to moderate, but what we have tried here, atopicone is not frequently we are not getting. Azithromycin plus buparocone we tried is good to moderate only in case of uncomplicated babesiosis. Uncomplicated babesiosis, when the dog is taking orally, then is okay. But most of the sick dog, will be vomiting, and oral medicines what are giving, either the client complaints won't be there, or pet may not be accepting, there'll be some vomiting, or giving some, because I told you, Ehrlichia canis, babesiosis, anemia is there, will be prescribing the iron tonic. So when you're giving iron tonic and other all these things along with the doxycycline also, so definitely there will be absorption, delay in absorption, and the MIC won't be reached. This combination protocol works. We call is a doxycycline, clindamycin, metronidazole, doxycycline, enterofloxacin, metronidazole. Okay, the DCM, this is recommending and protocol what they are following in the regular practice. Okay, in case of uncomplicated babesiosis, when the dog is able to take the medicine. Doxycycline at the rate of 5 mg per kg body weight twice daily. Clindamycin 11 mg per kg body weight 12 hourly. Metronidazole 15 mg. So this is a DCM regimen. DEM regimen: doxycycline, enterofloxacin, and metronidazole. So this is a DCM: doxycycline, clindamycin, metronidazole, doxycycline, enterofloxacin, metronidazole. We can give, and make sure that it should be continued, and double dosing of 2 tablets when the dog is not eating, and mostly you can say that recurrence will be there, and development of complication is more. That's why here in cases of complete babesiosis, they have been prescribed, doctor might have prescribed outpatient ward. So these are the medication. Even then, either because the dog is vomiting and not taking the tablet, or client complaints won't be there. So those cases, really the dopamine is we are using, and really is giving very, very good effect. So immediately, because the clindamycin is also available as injection, enterofloxacin is also available injection, metronidazole is also available injection. So intravenous preparation we are giving, and very quickly the dogs will improve, because I told the bioavailability, and also you can see surely, certainly the minimal inhibitory concentration is reached in the blood when compared to oral. So I advise, or it's my suggestion, that injectable is very, very useful in case of complicated babesiosis when the dog is not eating any food. Even though it is not vomiting, it's anorectic pet, when it's sick, is confirmed with babesiosis, and this is doxycycline is really useful injectable form. So here the same dose rate we are using for intravenous route. I told the 100 milligram vials are available. You can dilute with this 10 ml distilled water in the pack, and this 10 ml you have to dilute further with 100 ml namasaline, and slowly you have to give intravenous route. These kind of cases we used to catheterize, and we give by intravenous route. Very carefully you have to give intravenous route. There should not be development of phlebitis if perivascular leak. So it's better to go for IV catheterization, and you can give intravenously. This catheter will stay for at least 5 to 7 days, 5 days to 7 days. Meantime, if you are giving 5 to 7 days, the dog definitely will get clear, and appetite will start, then you can go. So at least 5 to 7 days, it requires intravenous administration of the doxycycline. Then once stabilized, then you can shift to oral. Next is hepatozoonosis. Actually, this publication, as I told you, is a concurrent infection is there. So concurrent infection, you can see the morula of Ehrlichia, and it is also the capsule-shaped organism, the hepatozoon canis. Actually, is published in 2015. This is interesting. Just want to share with you. This is why in clinical our practice, it doesn't mean that the dog only having babesiosis. The dog may be only having ehrlichiosis. There may be 2 or 3 organisms together causing disease in case of vector-borne disease or tick-borne disease in case of dogs. So the characteristic clinical sign in case of hepatozoonosis is anemia, pyrexia, lymph node enlargement, icterus, abdominal distensions because of hepatomegaly, And bleeding tendency in gums is a characteristic. Myalgia and swelling of joints is characteristic in case of hepatozoon canis. Because most of the dogs carrying hepatozoon canis will be asymptomatic, but when is immunocompromised and health status is not good, immediately you show the clinical sign hepatozoon canis. Immediately we can rule out by seeing the capture shaped organism, the neutrophil. And the treatment of choice is doxycycline, 10 mg per kg body weight per hour for 21 days to 28 days you can give. Here, the publication says that Immunocorp did not clear the hepatozoon canis infection. So doxycycline is recommended. All this American infectious disease specialist recommend the doxycycline for the hepatozoon canis. And next, coming to the canine anaplasmosis. As first itself I told, this Anaplasma platys is prevalent in India. It has been so many studies, even PhD research work done in our department also, they encountered Anaplasma platys, the PCA. So Anaplasma platys, as I told you, is transmitted by Rhipicephalus sanguinus. The other species of Anaplasma is there, Anaplasma phagocytophilum. It is transmitted by Ixodes ricinus. This tick is not in India, prevalent in India. Okay. So major concentration is the Anaplasma platys transmitted by Rhipicephalus sanguinus. Anaplasma just will be like as other Anaplasma in food animals. You can see wrote by blood smear examination, and also you can here also the platelets also you can see the platelet get infected with Anaplasma platys. Anaplasma platys mainly in the platelets. Platelets you can see the presence of Anaplasma, and major laboratory investigation tell you the thrombocytopenia and hyperglobulinemia, hypoalbuminemia. The total protein will be high, albumin will be low. The albumin globulin ratio will be disturbed, will changed. So it indicates hyperglobulinemia with non-responsive thrombocytopenia will be there. In some cases, non-degenerative to moderate normocytic normochromic anemia will be there. Those cases, we have to use doxycycline at the rate of 5 to 10 milligram per kg weight, depending upon dose. Is 5 milligram means twice daily, 10 milligram means once daily. 8 to 10 days you clear the infection. Enterofloxacin also can be used, 5 milligram per kg. Our combination also can be used, because that's why we cannot sure that what organism is there, or there may be more than 1 or 2 organisms may be there in the infection, in the practical field condition. That's why the combination of doxycycline, enterofloxacin, and metronidazole, or doxycycline, DCM, DEM, that clindamycin, metronidazole therapy also. So anything, yeah, but our here this clindamycin, whenever there is a kidney involvement is there, we are not going for clindamycin, we are going for enterofloxacin. So DCM, DEM depend upon the condition of the dog, you can choose combination of therapy. And next is the mycoplasmosis. So until I told the leptospirosis, babesiosis, ehrlichiosis, and anaplasmosis, all these things, mostly the dogs are sick and not eating, anorexia will be there. So in this case, injectable doxycycline will be better until the dog get stabilized for taking oral medication. So that way successfully you can manage the cases. So other uses like mycoplasmosis is not regularly encountered. Rarely you can see the Mycoplasma haemocanis. Okay, the Mycoplasma haemophilis in cats also is there. Other Mycoplasma, now it's called as Candidatus Mycoplasma haematoparvum. So this organism causes severe hemolytic anemia. Especially this Mycoplasma you can encounter in case of immunocompromised dogs and cats and splenectomized dogs. So most of the dogs, if the organism present, will be remain asymptomatic, chronic infection will be there. So here the Mycoplasma, you can see this actually this published Pittori in 2002. Here you can see the rod-shaped organism will be there. Filamentous chain will be there. Either single rods or filamentous chain will be there associated with the RBC. These are Mycoplasma haemocanis. Here the doxycycline therapy is good at the rate of 10 milligram per kg once daily. But if it is confirmed with the Mycoplasma, the reports are saying at least 3 months. Doxycycline therapy should be given at least for 3 months to clear, because quantitative PCR, qPCR confirmed that no relapse and complete clearance of the organism, DNA of the particular Mycoplasma haemocanis, 90 days, 87 days post therapy. The treatment has to be given at least for 3 months. Other uses, what we are using that we will be discussing, upper respiratory tract disease, especially you can say that canine infectious, canal cough caused by Bordetella bronchoseptica. The doxycycline, the 10 milligram per kg body weight, 10 to 14 days. Here also the complication, as I told you, when if you just give the tablet any oral medication, immediately the dog will start retching. Continuously, the retching will be there and bring out phlegm. So in case of administration of this kind of drugs further increases orally giving, it causes further pharyngitis and increases the chance of vomiting, and it takes long time to clear the infection or further complicate the problem and enter in lower respiratory tract disease also. So injectable doxycycline is better initially with the injectable doxycycline, and if take other diseases like bacterial disease, so many other bacterial diseases also are there susceptible for the doxycycline, especially the Brucella and Borrelia Lyme disease, but it's not frequently encountered. The brucellosis, we have 3 cases we have encountered in case of whenever the cases are coming breeding advice, they collect the sample and they found babies, Brucella canis is there in Chennai, and we have been treating the doxycycline. And recent reports suggest that actually they were bacterial urinary tract infection in case of dogs and cats. So many organisms they have ruled out, and susceptibility, sensitivity pattern also they checked. Doxycycline still is working against the bacteria, and where other antibiotic shows moderate to complete resistance. So doxycycline is effective in case of urinary tract infection, and also genital tract infection. As I told you, the chlamydia, actually ocular form also there, and also genital form also there. It's not frequently encountered, but wild animal or monkeys, the genital form of chlamydia is treated with doxycycline. The reports are available, but anyhow, just we have to keep in mind about the chlamydiosis or genital diseases. And 2019 study also says here that antimicrobial susceptibility of bacteria is from urine samples in case of dogs. So here also says that these are the bacteria available, encountered in case of urinary tract disease. E. coli, Staphylococcus, Proteus vulgaris, this Klebsiella, Pseudomonas, all these organisms. You can see the average inhibition diameter of this one sensitivity pattern is a doxycycline. Doxycycline stands in. So doxycycline can use when other higher antibiotics what we have been using, the cephalexin, cefazolin, ceftiofur. So the all shows when compared to doxycycline, the zone of inhibition in vitro test is lower. That indicates still the doxycycline is very effective in case of urinary tract diseases also. And other application prospective uses of doxycycline therapy in case of dogs and cats are there. So not only other these applications what we have discussed, the doxycycline potentially they can be used for ocular disease of the dogs and cats. As I told you, the cats nowadays the incidence is increasing. The chlamydophila infection, it causes severe conjunctivitis in case of cats, and also it causes respiratory and urogenital tract disease also encountered because of chlamydophila. It can be treated with a 3-week course of doxycycline orally in case of cats. The cats also, when you are giving orally, as told, in feline digestive tract, the transit time it takes long from mouth to the stomach. So when the tablet is sticky, adhering to the esophagus, definitely persistence will be there and causes severe pharyngitis or esophagitis and causes ulceration. So what in practice the advice, just give the tablet and just give offer some water and food. So immediately, otherwise after food, give tablet. After that you can give some water. It will flush out. But injectable form is there. So whenever the condition is encountered, you can give the injectable form. And once the case is stabilized and is active, and after that you can give oral. But cat is very difficult. Very difficult to give this oral doxycycline, because doxycycline tablet is this covered with a layer. Okay, what the client is telling you for the doxycycline, either breaking of tablet and making it powder and just giving also, definitely it is going to cause esophagitis, and vomiting will be there, further complicate the problem. And here, that's why the systemic doxycycline, parenteral doxycycline reaches a effective therapeutic level in the precorneal film. When compared to oral doxycycline, systemic doxycycline administration, it can reach the precorneal film level and it clear the infection present in the cornea and also conjunctiva. So for chlamydophila infection, the injectable doxycycline is recommended and is very effective also. So if when you are giving for the chlamydophila infection, you can give 5 milligram per kg body weight, twice daily you can give. For the corneal ulceration also, the doxycycline is effective as a topical antimicrobial therapy and also is can be useful if the poor owner complaints is there. We can also use it as a primary this antimicrobial for in case of corneal ulceration in dogs and cats. It's very effective in case of corneal ulceration. The studies, recent studies, reported that the corneal ulceration in dogs and cats, doxycycline works well. In human studies also, they have reported positive effects of doxycycline in the corneal healing. And the doxycycline is having the immunomodulatory property. Feline plasmacytic photodermatitis, doxycycline was found both immunomodulatory and also anti-inflammatory property. So whatever we are just for recover both infection and also act as a immunomodulatory drug and anti-inflammatory drug. Still, a lot of research required to prove all these effects in clinical practice. Because the antimicrobial, because of resistance problem, we have to use focus. The use should be very focused for clearing the infection. That's the as a primary choice. And dermatitis is for the skin on pyoderma also. Dermatitis and also for pyoderma, the doxycycline, the recent studies, it works very well. When it's combined with niacinamide, it is useful for treating leupard onchodystrophy for the claws problem and canine eosinophilic dermatitis, non-responding chronic dermatitis. Doxycycline therapy is really effective. There's a adjunct therapy or whatever maybe anti-inflammatory, immunomodulatory. So recent studies say that is having good immunomodulatory property. That's why is effective against eosinophilic dermatitis. And most importantly, in 2019 study, 2020 studies also, besides this 2012 studies, doxycycline is effective in case of methicillin resistant and methicillin susceptible staphylococcus pseudointermediates, and also methicillin resistant staphylococcus aureus, MRSA and MRSP. The doxycycline proved effective in dog studies, in canine studies. So recurrent dermatitis is not responding for or penicillins. Okay, the best choice you can go for doxycycline to treat the disease, especially dermatology condition, and you can give feedback how would it be. Other than this one, we have okay, other applications. The reason if you take a 2015 onwards, the heartworm disease and microfilariasis in case of dogs and cats. If you take Kerala or northeastern region, the microfilariasis is very, very common. Microfilaria, you take blood smear, your blood checks the microfilaria. It will be challenging to treat. Okay, heartworm in case of European countries and American countries, heartworm is really challenging. The client has to spend a lot. Before the use of doxycycline. Once the doxycycline is there, now actually the advice, shelter dogs and also pet-owned dogs. So nowadays is recently the doxycycline usage is increasing. Why? Because you know this. I don't need to explain the life cycle of this microfilaria transmitted by this mosquito L3 and 4 stage larva, develop into adult, then reaches the heart and Andirivina cava causes caval syndrome in case of dogs because there's a the diaphragm is in the heart. So, a microfilaria will be there. It causes a lot of problem in especially in the European countries and American countries. And microfilariasis because of other filarial nematodes like Brugia mali is also present in the both dogs and cats. Brugia mali and other this one human filaria. Microfilaria is also encountered in case of dogs and cats. So a lot of studies were conducted from 2015 even 2020 and application of doxycycline. You know this microfilaria are on the adult worm also. This filariid worm. There is a bacteria called Wolbachia. Wolbachia bacteria. These are symbiotic. they called as endosymbiont. So the Wolbachia is very, very important for the microfilia development of keratocytes and fibroblast. Okay, then only they can enter. They can enter the after penetration of the skin by mosquitoes. The microfilaria has to enter inside the body and reaches the circulation and reaches the predilection site. Okay, so for that, for this needs very strong cuticle keratocytes. So Wolbachia is very, very important for this microfilia and also for the adult one. What doxycycline does is act on the Wolbachia, clear the Wolbachia, and microfilaria is cleared. So that's why the recent studies indicate that Wolbachia endosymbiont is a filarial nematode target, antifilarial nematode target, and doxycycline does wonderful effect on this Wolbachia. The doxycycline at the rate of 10 mg per kg body weight twice daily, 28 days, eliminates the Wolbachia species from the microfilaria or also adult. So not only for clearing microfilaria and also for adult side therapy also, the doxycycline is used. This is for clearing the microfilaria. Adult side therapy, two combinations, recent studies in 2020 and 2019 studies indicate that topical moxidectin plus imidacloprid once monthly topically application along with doxycycline at the rate of median dose 12.6 milligram per kg per hour for 15 days. Otherwise, other regimen is given for other worker. Adult side therapy with ivermectin 6 microgram per kg monthly treatment along with doxycycline therapy at the rate of 10 mg per kg but once daily per hour for 30 days gives a very good adult side therapy. So how doxycycline is wonderfully acting on, and previously arsenicals were used in case of adult side therapy. So it was challenging to completely clear the surgical treatment, removing of all the worms from the vena cava, this one from the heart. So it is not possible in practice. So microfilaria is there, prescribed doxycycline, and as we confirm the direct filaria pneumonitis, adult worms are there by seeing the X-ray of the heart. Okay, then you can go for either of the ivermectin or the topical use of moxidectin, imidacloprid along with doxycycline. And interestingly, the doxycycline is also effective against wound healing. Both in dog studies is indicated that doxycycline is a very good matrix metalloprotease inhibitor. Okay, if you inhibit MMP, there are a lot of this of collagen and elastin. So healing of surgical wound is very good in doxycycline. So hernial healing is increased or very fast healing of hernial ring by use of doxycycline therapy. The research also indicated. This out of interest, other applications of doxycycline also I'm sharing with you. So with this brief about doxycycline, still so many things are there, but briefly, what common application of doxycycline I'm sharing with you. And thank you very much.
Thank you very
Any
much, sir. Yes, sir. I will ask Dr. Naresh to take a question answer session. Dr.
Yes, sir.
Naresh and Amit can continue.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
There are lots of questions from the participant side.
Okay, sir.
But I'll ask a few very important questions and very common questions.
Sir.
First question is asked by Dr. Arun. He is asking, is it safe to use doxycycline in pediatric patients?
Yeah, pediatric patients very safe, sir. Very safe, because unlike tetracycline, it causes the teeth discoloration and bone problem. Is safer in case of doxycycline because many cases we are getting with the E. canis infection in puppies age of 30 days or 40 days. Pediatric cases are coming. We have used doxycycline, injectable doxycycline we used to be cleared the infection. Very safe to use pediatric.
Sir.
If any complications, tell me, sir.
Sir, please share your email ID because many people are asking for your presentation. I do not know, that is up to you whether to share the presentation or not. If they are having any doubt, they can write to you directly, sir. And
Okay.
later also they can interact.
Okay, sir. I think he has Shinde, Dr. Shinde has Dr. Tilahar at gmail.com. DRTHI.
Can you type it, sir, in this screen so that if participants who are seeing, they can note it down. Santosh, or you can flash it in the chat.
He can flash it, sir.
Yes, sir. Santosh, in the meantime, you can flash it in the chat.
Yes, sir. I will do that.
Sir, one question is very common and asked by 2-3 doctors.
Sir,
Can I put that question, sir?
sir,
1 minute. 1 minute. Doctor.
Here, the email is mentioned on the bottom of the screen.
yes, sir.
Please note it down.
drtilagar@gmail.com.
Dr. Tilagar at
gmail.com.
gmail.com. Okay, Amit, you go ahead with your questions. Amit.
Yes, sir. So one question is very common. It is asked by Dr. KP Singh, Dr. Kaushal, and Dr. Ramesh.
Sir.
Is there any difference in clinical efficacy of doxycycline as oral and intravenous route?
Sir, actually, a search paper, there's separate papers are available, oral route or intravenous route, and we are conducting the studies on this one, comparing the oral and comparing the intravenous in same case studies. But the effect is already is proved that doxycycline, as the initial presentation, doxycycline intravenous, once we give immediately within 0.17 hour, it reaches the 100% circulation route and it will clear slowly. Whereas oral doxycycline in dogs and cats, no study clearly indicated how much milligram of this on minimum inhibitory concentration steady rate, because the absorption of doxycycline, though is lipophilic very good, the concentration, effective concentration reaches maybe depending upon the food material and content of the ionic substance, divalent cations. So except is not going to bind with calcium, but other ionic substances and the presence of other substances, for example, food material, the absorption of the doxycycline reaching the constant, how much time it takes, that also vary. So no report consistently says with the oral doxycycline in case of dogs and cats reaches this much, but it is absorbing when the animal is without vomiting is there. So that way you can say that animal will get sufficient minimum inhibitory concentration in the blood whenever the animal is sick. So in that case, we cannot say how many times the dog vomited, giving oral in case of therapeutic studies. I'm telling sick animals, when you are giving doxycycline orally in the case of vomiting cases, so we effectively is plasma concentration and all we cannot say. That's why the no reports we can say steady, I mean consistently, that given oral treatment for the ehrlichiosis, given intravenous therapy. So in that way, consistently oral therapy, there are no reports are available. But injectable for preparations are there. In the even you can say 1990 itself, they have published about the effective advantages of intravenous doxycycline therapy in case of dogs. Pharmacokinetic studies also done in case of dogs, 1988 and 1990. Human practice for the past 50 years, they have been using doxycycline whenever the case warrants intravenous therapy of doxycycline. So they are using for the past 50 years they have been using.
Okay, sir. So on this basis, we can say that the data available for IV therapy of doxycycline is quite available rather than the oral therapy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So one more question from Dr. Debajyoti. What should be done if the dog is showing side effect and it is mandatory doxytherapy. Means doxycycline therapy is mandatory, but still it is showing side effect. So we should continue or discontinue, or what should be the solution?
Yeah, actually, in this case, for example, if they're giving oral therapies, the dog is vomiting continuously, or they having elevated serum liver enzymes, means temporarily they have to discontinue. So until get the vomiting stopped with any antiemetic and antacid, then they can start doxycycline therapy. That's what I'm telling. Oral doxycycline therapy itself can induce the pharyngitis. So in human studies also indicated that whenever you're using doxycycline orally, first they will go for pantoprazole. Here also what we are prescribing, pantoprazole before food and doxycycline tablet after that. So even then the clients are complaining the dog is vomiting, is not taking, very difficult to administer the tablet. So if the dog is well trained to have this pills, means then it's okay when the dog is not vomiting, tolerant. So tolerant patient, you can give oral. So if it is vomiting is there, don't take chance and risk of this one not clearing the infection. It's better to go for intravenous preparation.
Okay, sir. So one question from Dr. Sonia Tabassum. What will be the duration of doxytherapy for MRSA pyoderma?
MRSA pyoderma, they have given is like for 14 days to variable days. One study report that 1 month. One study they're stating that 3 weeks are sufficient. 14 days to 21 days is sufficient. Is clearly is completely clearing the infection.
Okay, sir.
One question from Dr. Taslim.
Sir,
DEM therapy. In DEM therapy,
doxycycline, enterofloxacin, metronidazole.
Yeah, can we club bacteriostatic and bactericidal together?
Sir, here the purpose of here with the enterofloxacin, there's no interaction. Sir, for the first slide, a few slides, early slides I have shown you, there is no interaction. But our aim is clearing the Babesia organism. Okay, here clubbing does not, because continuously we have been using daily. We are giving around 30 to 50 prescriptions during the season, peak season. The same DEM. So nothing is happening. Nothing happening. No drug interaction. Is safer to use doxycycline, enterofloxacin, and metronidazole DEM protocol.
Okay, sir. So there are so many questions. One question from Dr. Pragnesh side. Is it necessary to give probiotic every time along with the oral doxytherapy?
Yeah, that is our adjunct therapy is definitely, sir, because normal gut flora is very important. Okay, so when you are giving the like support supplements like vitamin B1, B6, B12, you already have been giving, means no problem, sir. Every time you not give, but you are not supplementing, but still dog is having some loose stools. If you're giving probiotic, it is increasing the solidness of the stool, reducing the problem, discomfort of the patient. Means definitely you can go for probiotic along with that.
Sir, last question I'll ask, because this is also common and asked by two doctors. Dr. Ramesh, he's asking what will be the minimum dose of IV doxy should be given for hemoprotozoan disease?
So minimum dose you can give 5 milligram per kg body weight. So even some cases they have been using 2.5 because the pharmacokinetic dose I have given. Just I want to flash this slide. Even at the rate of 5 milligram per kg, single bolus injection of doxycycline in dogs, the Cmax reached 11.56 microgram per ml within 0.17 hour when compared to oral at the rate of 10 mg per kg. So 5 milligram per kg is lower. If a dog is showing anything, you are not feeling 10 mg is not having vomiting, some other complication is there already. The dog is dehydrated. Like that, if any reservation you have or is not tolerant to the 10 mg, means you can very well reduce at the rate of 5 milligram per kg body weight. Twice daily you can go, sir. Twice daily.
Okay, sir. So there are so many questions. I think now the questions can be mailed and we can reply them through email, because many questions are there, sir.
Okay,
but so far the common questions I have already put. Session over to Dr. Santosh Shinde, sir.
Thank you, Amit. Sir, on the behalf of all the participants, Alembic Pharmaceutical Limited, myself Dr. Santosh Shinde, express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Bal Gangadhar Tilgar sir for taking such a informative presentation on update of doxycycline in small animal practice. Sir, your presentation will definitely going to help the field veterinarian, pet practitioner, the use of doxycycline in various clinical cases, especially sir, canine tick-borne diseases. Sir, in future also, we will be taking benefit of such a interesting and useful session that will upgrade our knowledge so we can serve the society. Sir, special goes to Dr. Bal Subramaniam sir, a director of Clinic Tanuvas, Dr. Kavita, head Department of Veterinary Clinical Medicine. Last but not least, I will like to thank all the participating veterinarians, Alembic field staff to make the webinar successful. Thank you once again, Bal Gangadhar Tilgar sir, and all the veterinarians. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.